Welcome everyone, especially those who love AI, to our panel discussion called Translating AI to the Hospitals. Today we are going to talk about the exciting world of artificial intelligence. It's a world that's always changing, full of new ideas and guided by important ethical rules. Our panelists are experts in their field as they are dedicated to shaping the future of AI. We are going to have some great discussions, explore new ideas, and work together to make AI better and more responsible. We are lucky to have three special guests and committee members with us. Professor Saeed Amal from Northeastern University, United States of America. Professor Dana York from the European Medical Laser Association, United States of America. Mr. Chad Watson from SAS Evolutions, Portugal. Thank you for joining us. Let's get started the panel discussion.
Thank you, Monica, and to all the speakers, and congratulations for your beautiful, brilliant presentations. We learned so much, and please join Kira and Monica and everybody to in person in Thailand in November in Bangkok. Would be a wonderful conference, and I wish at that time I'm able to give a real hug to each one of you for all your beautiful work and the love for science and sacrifice that you do. So congratulations. Now let's start the panel about hospital use of AI. And if I may, Professor Saeed, would you like to enlighten us?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for this opportunity. So I would say, I would start by AI. How do we develop AI tools and algorithms, models for healthcare, and what are the challenges, and how important is it to evaluate those models in order to be able to deploy them and translate this research into the clinic. So first of all, the data that we need to use, how do we acquire this data in order to train models? So as we all know, AI models needs data to be able to understand and to distinguish between cases. As example, if we talk about a disease, then we would like to see the history of patients, information about these patients from each of those stages, or whether the patient has the disease or not, so that we can understand, actually, so that the AI can understand and learn how to distinguish between those cases. So the first step would be acquiring the data. And for that, as we know, patient data is sensitive, and it's under the privacy of each one of these patients. And for that, in order to be able to use it outside of the hospital, first of all, to train these models, even before we go and deploy that, we need to first of all, the healthcare team or the hospital needs to de-identify this information before transferring this data to us. And the first step would be by having the IRB, which is the Internal Review Board, that would understand what are we going to do with the data, what type of data do we need, and what is the ultimate goal of the use of this data. So, and then we can see that after that, whatever is defined in this IRB, this is what should be done, and anything that is would be added in the future needs to we need to revisit the IRB and fix it accordingly, and enhance it with whatever is needed. And then we have the data. We build our models that are specific based on the data modalities. So we can have data modalities that are textual data from the electronic health records that are, data from visits of patients. Then we need to model it using techniques that can understand sequential data. If it's imaging data, then we would like to use techniques as convolutional neural network as backbone for this for the modeling of this type of imaging data. So even imaging can be, we might have high resolution images, then we need different techniques that can be also more efficient in terms of the scaling between the depth and the width of these networks so that we can understand this high resolution images. We have the omics data, which we have like the genetics, proteomics, and some other types of omics that we also need to model. As we know, the dimensionality is very high in these types of modalities, so we need to use techniques to reduce these dimensionalities. And then once we have the data and we build the model, we define the architecture. Then we need to build a model that we need to evaluate even before trying it in the clinic or as pilot. We need to thoroughly evaluate it with all the and calculate all the metrics that are needed to be able to understand what is the confidence that we have in these models and how robust are they compared to different types of in terms of different scanners, different like resolutions that can be caused by these scanners, in terms of different diagnosis that can be done from different pathologists. And then once we evaluate that, then we need to try it as again as a pilot in a very small number of patients that it could be used as to assist the clinician in the process of the diagnosis. And then we have the the other clinical trials, all the phases of the clinical trials that needs to be done till the end that it's approved by depending on the authority, whether it's FDA or CE, so we can use it actually in the clinic. So this is how the process of like developing models for the healthcare and medicine till the time where we want to translate it into the clinic and deploy it so that the healthcare team can use it. And as we see it, that the AI will be part of the clinical team, and it's will be in this loop of decision making that can assist the clinical team and the doctors in the clinic. Yeah. So this, and then we had like brief talk about that yesterday with Professor Dana and Mr. Chad. So if you want, Professor Dana, if you have from your experience, if you would like to tell us about your experience in terms of taking even like technology or into the clinics, or from your experience.
You know, as you go to the reception of the hospital and there is a panel there, right?
Yeah.
And then you got the panel and they gave you this hand in America, and you put the hand on and the hand recognizes who you are. If not, you put everything and click, you're in. They know you are there. You checked in, just like in the airport, right? I'm checked in for the doctor. He knows I'm here. That's artificial intelligence. It checks your hand and again goes boom right to the computer of the doctor. That's with another patient. And imagine the line to the receptionist, the doctor hanging out with lots of patients. The nurse is exhausted, but now start with the reception. Boom, we got artificial intelligence right there. And then you know how hard it is to carry a person. Imagine the person is 85 kilos or 100 or 120 kilos, most likely a man paralyzed, something paraplegic, would be, let's say, 90 kilos. And then there is this robot, a robot, and takes and gets the patient. And the lovely Filipino nurse is there manipulating, like a crane, up and down the hands of the robot to take the patient and put it in. Then, going back to the famous AI sexy nurse, right? AI nurse in Swahili for my orphanage in Tanzania, for the albinos mothers in Congo, for everybody. AI nurse is an addition to the lovely, sweet nurse in a hospital, because the nurse is the backbone of a hospital. And the AI nurse, you know how the AI nurse, the nurses are bombarded with information, are bombarded with stuff, but AI nurse, she's there to help, either with taking the blood pressure, because the patient would be connected. And if I would be in a hospital bed, God forbid, right, knock wood, if I would be in the hospital bed, don't I want to be hooked up of any appliance, any machine, any AI thing that can be on the planet that will detect, prevent, announce my state, right? So imagine, that's it, AI nurse, each patient one AI nurse, and then the monitor, what a private treatment we got, what a luxury. What a luxury. Now I really think all this AI is for Africa or for deep Asia somewhere, but for Africa, where is no healthcare at long distance, and then limited healthcare, and then you got these children, you got this population, and that would prevent pandemics of Ebola, for example, that would educate, that would do so much in the regions, in the tribal regions. Even in India, somewhere next to Bangalore, is a very big tribal region with problems. In the Maasai as well. And then AI help in the hospital would just be magic. And one thing, what happened, all those medical institutions, they're afraid, how am I going to learn this? Is this expensive for the hospital? Is this, but to be really, really honest, if you output technology, if you bring a artificial nurse, artificial handicap healthcare, reception, paper-free front desk, and patients file, paper-free administration, then you gain time, you gain money, you gain help for your medical institution, for the hospital. And then we got a very flexible life now of the healthcare, which is very good. We got a very educated patient in most parts of the world, which is very, very, very good. And the patient deserves the best. The patients deserve really the best. Another amazing thing that comes with AI, I think, is the most important use of it right now, is in radiology, reading scans, reading x-rays in the radiology. Tac, immediately it scans and reads and diagnoses. But then remember, always, always, with all this AI, we can always pull the plug. We can always pull the plug. And there is just us and our brain and our hands and our skills that we learn from school. And what does it teach us all these years in school? Dealing with lots of things that we like and lots of things that we don't like. It teaches us to go through troubled times. And life on its own gives us million 5-year or 6-year challenges with school, even more difficult than the university we've been through. And then the time we've been through at the school, with the good, with the bad. It's part of the world. But mostly stay out of trouble, don't fight with anybody, stick to it, stick to it, stick to it, follow your goals and your passions. So Dr. Rose Gidis, please add something to this, our wonderful chat here.
Thank you, Dr. York, and the former presenter. This is some wonderful information, and I just wanted to add a little case use scenario to some things that you mentioned. So the first thing I wanted to mention, and I put in the chat, is livindi.com. And if you look at that, this is a company that actually they have a room that monitors, it collects video footage and actually monitors the patient. But what's interesting and important about this is, right, there's technology coming out through Microtron is a company that will be publicly available soon, but they actually have technology, AI, that analyzes the video. We were talking earlier about
Dr. Ross, we don't advertise private companies in this conference. We can talk about we can talk about their what it is, the technology, but we don't advertise any names of publicity of companies.
I'm sorry about that. So there's a technology, right, that analyzes basically the patient behavior, and it can be programmed to determine if a patient is going into a seizure, right? If the patient fell in the room, behind the bed or what have you. And then so also there's basically technology as well to, if the human being in the room fell, and can actually go over to the human being and roll them over in an appropriate position. So all of these things are currently available now. We don't have the sexy nurses yet, but a lot of the things that you talk about are available in one form or another. And it's the coming together of these different things is what the real AGI is, right? That general intelligence. So I kind of wanted to mention that about the technology, but then also you mentioned something about Africa and these environments, these populations needing and utilizing this kind of stuff. And I just wanted to mention, along that lines, we have used AI to actually come up with, we know that those individuals you're speaking of, especially the young ladies, deal with something called period poverty and menstrual stigma, right? And because of this, a lot of them at 13, 14, 15 years old drop out of school, stop doing activities and all of these things, because everything that's around this stage of maturity in a young lady's life. So we created a menstrual manual called M3. It's a menstrual management manual using AI, and creating a program now for the summer where the young ladies will actually use AI and create their own personal version of these manuals and getting them familiar with the AI technology. So that's just another way we're trying to help a real world issue while introducing and demystifying AI technology. So I just kind of wanted to mention that.
Wonderful comment. Wonderful, wonderful. I want to tell you something about in Japan. They have these children that they cannot move their legs. This been there forever. So what they do photobiomodulation on their feet, and the nurse is the mother, and they video the children as they change, they are there in the hospital. It's very limited, the number of children. They are paralyzed from the legs. And what happened is they put the light, the regenerative photobiomodulation infrared light, and then they monitor on camera and they see the transformation of the child. Dr. Watson have the most amazing knowledge about his diabetes tracking and all his work. So let's hear him.
But I just wanted to touch primarily first on when you're talking about training the model. So when you look, especially when you look at the omics data, it's notoriously, as Saeed had mentioned, it's high dimensional, but understanding how to analyze TNSE plots, so knowing how to perform PCA analysis or those things is quite difficult. So knowing how to analyze the data, the models still need to learn that sort of thing. So if we don't...
What is that application for the hospital? What is this model application for the hospital?
No. When he was talking about training the model, those are things that we still need to look at in terms of being able to improve, in terms of looking at things that are already implementation. There's what I had mentioned before, where you take all the scans, they take scans because when patients come into the this is with the University of Dundee.
That's great. That's great. Dr. Florence is here. If you know Dr. Florence, she's wonderful. She's working actually with the hospital with the sickle cell patients. And what they do, she can tell us what she does with her beautiful work. I visited recently the university, 2 universities, one in the tip of India, in Tamil Nadu, and one in Ahmedabad. So when arriving in the hospital, every patient will take their shoes off, will instantly take their shoes off. And the shoes, they go in a rack of shoes. I think that's very healthy. And then having this large area for the hospital is amazing, to have all this giant space. But some of us, we don't have as much space. So because we don't have much space, then we got to limit. And from that, AI come really and help. Now, if you see all the neuroscience model and how AI will help in the neurologic treatments and in advancements. For example, when you have all the neurological tests for the patient after stroke, you can use the AI to quantify, to treat, to verify, to test. And that is just simple and great, the neurology use of treatment. Dr. Saeed, in your university,
Yeah. Yes.
tell us more about how you help the hospitals with your university work.
Yeah, so this is another kind of challenge, let's say. If you are in a university that doesn't have hospital, like if you're in I was at Stanford, so they have their clinics, their hospitals. So I was part of Stanford, and we were using the data. So it's kind of, the data is more accessible. Still, you need to see it as a researcher, as he identified. But in terms of a university that doesn't have hospital, so what we do is we collaborate with hospitals that we both have you know, shared interest in terms of solving problems that are that can be bottleneck for the clinical team. As example, one of the collaborations is based on prostate cancer that I talked about yesterday, and the shortage in pathologists, as example, in rural areas like Maine and some other states, it's becoming even more challenging because the shortage in pathologists is a challenge that is across the country, but still in rural areas, this would be a much more challenging area. So this is one of the things that we try to help in making the process more efficient by making the decisions or assisting in the decision of the diagnosis of grading the cancer, depending on the severity that we see. If we talk about biopsies, then we need to try and train the AI to find patterns in this biopsy that we would mark it up for the doctor to make sure that they focus on those areas, and then it will help them make the diagnosis in a more efficient way. And this would also help, as example, one of the cases that we see in ranking the cases. As example, as like everybody knows, when you make a biopsy or take a biopsy, it takes probably 2 weeks till the biopsy is delivered to the pathology organization, and then the diagnosis would happen based on the overload of the increased amount of biopsies. It makes also the pathologists take more time to diagnose this because they have a lot of biopsies that they can't really process in short amount of time. So what we do is we also one of the aims is to prioritize these biopsies so that the severe cases would be handled in a higher priority. Again, the severity is based on the AI, but still, if we identify a high severity case, then we would like to prioritize it in terms of making the pathologist perform the manual diagnosis as soon as possible. And we also do some other, in some cases, as example, if we talk about seborrheic keratosis that looks very similar and challenging with the melanoma. So in this case, the dermatologist would get a massive amount of those dermoscopy. And then what we want, since it's not cancerous and it's not risky, so we would like to identify those cases and take them off the dermatologist schedule so that they can focus on the more severe cases as cancer and like melanoma and some other severe skin cases. Other example that is also now evaluated and being piloted in the clinics of how do we early detect patients that will develop peripheral artery disease. So we take the electronic health records, we take the polygenic risk score with the SNPs that are associated with those with the cardiovascular disease. We built models that can model both the sequential data and those additional SNPs, and together with the polygenic risk score, and we perform early detection in like our AUC was 97.8. It's very high AUC, very high sensitivity and specificity, and it's very useful. And now we are evaluating that on different population. So we are evaluating that in the University of Chicago and some other clinics. So those are examples where, you know, the AI researchers from the university can meet the clinical needs, and that's how we translate these algorithms into the clinic. I saw that Mr. Chad had a raised hand. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same thing that I'm saying. Once we improve on the looking at how to train the model, we can ease the professionals and that sort of thing. So once we define how we approach the training of the models, so that we actually get it to be better able to predict and move out and be able to do that. There are lots of numerous studies that we're doing around where we're doing things like that already. So like I mentioned, I think I mentioned yesterday, you're looking at these scans and we're using that long to try and detect what patients would more likely present for dementia. So it's just a matter of knowing how to go about and to train the model to, so to speak, to do those things. But like with anything else, once we need to make sure that we're training the model well. So things when it comes to understanding how to analyze certain aspects of it, I think that's key, so that we able to build a better model.
Yes. Yes. Listen to this. Delegates dining room at the United Nations, 17th of October. 40 people, buffet, option 4, that is beef and chicken, and buffet 2, that is fish, outdoor patio, plus the guide tour. First Avenue and 47th Street. If you can make it here, we will have a nice party. And lectures at the United Nations here in New York on the 17th. I booked for the reception in the evening. I wanted you to know. And then we can visit some of the venues at my former institution, New York University. We can visit the medical school, the dental school, the Langoon, famous Langoon Hospital, which I think is the best in the world. They save lives and is our here next door. So when I compare with the other health care systems that I know, it's better. So that's what I wanted to tell you before I forget. Yes, it got approved. You know, it doesn't come that easy to have an event at the United Nations, and we have been approved. So one can only hope that we'll have as many of you. Please look for sponsors, look for grants, look for research grants, look for pay. And if you publish, just publish in Q1 journals and in score 3, Q1 journals with score 3 of research. Only there. Don't get fooled by other journals. It's very, 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 very important. And apply for any grants, as I told you before. That is also very important. Now, I would like to ask Dr. Watson to continue with what he wants to say about the diabetes and the tracking devices, please.
Oh, I think I mentioned this yesterday. So it uses basically a normal anomaly detection algorithm. So once you basically fall within a certain range, you're going into diabetic shock. It alerts the user. So sorry, it alerts the hospital. So then they can actually send out an ambulance. And so basically, instead of you injecting yourself with insulin, it has a device that monitors your insulin level, but it also feeds information back to the system. So obviously you have edge devices that uses those things as well. and it basically relays that information back to the hospital, so they're able to better monitor, because diabetes is something that affects a lot of people, and it causes so many things, from eyesight loss to not being able to recover quickly from other ailments. So that's all I have to say on that regard, basically.
Professor Florence, would you please come into the panel? She just finished another conference and she joined, and that's wonderful. So I went and visited Professor Florence in Uganda. So what were we, then I've seen her research is wonderful. Just one microscope, and I got one for $17 on Temu. You can get your microscope on Temu. And then you prepare the slides with blood, and then you take the phone, and there is a phone application that detects the sickle cell. So Dr. Florence, Professor Florence, please come and tell us about the sickle cell. Now she's really into that. Why? Because a large population in Uganda might have, but in New York, a large population. Just here, what happened is we have Jason, one of our former students. He's a survivor. He's 45. He's a nurse at Bronx Lebanon Hospital. So we will definitely do research together. Professor Florence, please tell us more about your involvement in hospitals now, not about sickle cells, hospitals.
In hospitals. Yes, I'm Professor Florence Tushabe, and I am an associate professor in the School of Engineering here at my workplace at Soweto University in Uganda. I am glad to be here and very excited about the opportunity to go to New York and to present at the UN panel. As you know, I need a visa. So I'm requesting someone to send me an invitation letter, and then I can start the preparation of getting the visa. Otherwise, I will be there. So my work makes me work very closely with hospitals. And I work very closely with 2 hospitals which are around me. And one thing about those hospitals or the patients is that they really, really want to be researched on. You find that they really want to participate and they expect us to get solutions, especially how to manage their conditions. So I am active in sickle cell research, and right now I've come up with an app which can detect sickle cells in microscopic images of the red blood cells. And then also I have a team in TB research who have also come up with some biomarkers to diagnose or to detect pulmonary TB. Because in Uganda,
like, oh wow,
tuberculosis, yes, tuberculosis. In Uganda, many people have HIV, and TB is associated with the people who are positive. So we find many people have TB, and well, not so many, but because it is so contagious, you find that it's a health issue, public health issue. So because of that, you find that as soon as someone goes to the hospital complaining of cough, and they get so scared, and then they say, no, let us just start this person on TB treatment, even before they confirm that they have TB. Because by the time they confirm that they have TB, this person could have spread it maybe to other people. So that is one challenge you have here in Uganda on TB. And for sickle cells, this is genetic, that most people of African descent, the majority are the ones who get sickle cells. And really, this app which we're doing, or this work which we're doing for the sick class, is very timely. If you can just Google, you'll Google one Kenyan man who wants, what do they call it, to commit suicide, but when the medical people have committed suicide on you? Is it what? Anesthesia and something. Have you understood that? Where you ask a doctor to kill you because you're in so much pain.
Assisted
Euthanize.
suicide.
Euthanasia.
That one.
Euthanasia.
Euthanasia.
That one. So now
Euthanasia
here
or
in our country, here that law is not there which can accept such things. So if you Google Kenyan man who wants that euthanasia, he wants to go out so that doctors can kill him because he has sickle cells. He's a sickler and he has been suffering, he's in pain, he has blamed his parents, he has blamed everything, but he has reached a point whereby he's like, I'd rather die now than continue to live. So you find that in Uganda, most sicklers, by 15 years, they are dying. Then by 20, they are very few. The ones who can push on up to 45, like how Professor Dana was saying, they are within like the last 10%. So you find that really their life, can I say mortality rate is quite low, or can I say high? And they are really looking forward to these solutions, which can try to, number one, diagnose the disease earlier, number two, manage the disease, and number three, if possible, even to treat the disease so that they can be healed. I don't know if it's possible to be healed, but with how I'm seeing AI and the medical fraternity, how they are advancing in medicine, I think there will be a day when it can also be cured. Having said that, I'd like to thank you so much for listening to me.
I have a question for you, Dr. Florence. One, so is your app available like on portable devices, like on the cell phone and stuff like that? So is this something that individuals can travel out and use, or do you have to come to a location or a hospital to use it? And then secondly, is anyone studying, looking at the telomeres of these individuals with sickle cell?
Okay, and that's a very good question. Right now, we are still doing broader testing with the hospitals. We have finished our testing here internally. So we have the app, but we have not yet publicized it yet because our colleagues we're doing extended testing. But for you, between me and you, I can avail to you the link, and then you can download it and you can interact with it. But then officially, we are yet to officially launch it out publicly. Yes.
All right, and then on the
by November, it will have been launched out publicly.
Shabi, Uganda needs money. You have this research. You have to sell your app, even if it's $1 per download. You have to put it in the app on the iPhone or the other one and sell it. Sell it so we can get more research there in Uganda.
Okay, I'm going to do that.
So
maybe
finish it, because in Uganda, I've been there, it's wonderful. And if you go to Uganda, I don't know if you can realize this is paradise. Uganda is paradise. Lake Victoria, the nature, the people. Uganda is, God bless Uganda. Uganda is paradise. And Uganda,
they call it the pearl. They call it the pearl of Africa because it is really so beautiful.
So beautiful.
Yeah. And I invite all of you to Uganda, really.
I've been there twice. I've been there twice.
Yeah.
And Professor Florence took me to the Congo embassy, and we hung out the whole day together then. And I've been teaching. I teach them the laser course. That was very nice. In road trips. And then I meet the most wonderful people. And I had, oh my God, if you see the islands, the vegetation floating islands on the Lake Victoria, with the lake which is in between 5 countries. It's just beyond belief beautiful, Uganda. So you think, what African country, what? You have no idea what is in there. It's gorgeous, fantastic. You must go. You have no idea.
And you didn't even go to the good places. You just went to the ordinary places. So when you come back,
those were ordinary places I go. I will live there. You know, actually, I'm a Muzungu. You know what is a Muzungu? Muzungu is a white girl. So as a Muzungu, I got invited by another Muzungu in there to join his practice. I almost joined the practice to treat with the laser the lovely people.
Mhm.
And we got friends. Don't we have friends, Dr. Florence? We have friends
Yeah,
in Uganda.
yeah,
We have
yeah, we have
friends. We love Uganda. God bless Uganda. And
It's
you
true.
know what? Uganda is advanced. Uganda is umbilico del mundo. No joke. No joke. So then,
Dr. Florence, if you connect with me on LinkedIn, I think if we approach, because well, Dr. York knows with the whole UN stuff, what we should do or what you can do is approach USAID, and because with your app, we could probably get some funding to really, like you said, put it out there in the healthcare space for very cheap. And you can partnership with the USAID or probably even UNESCO if we do it on an educational health impact thing, and you can get some quick dollars to be able to help your community there specifically. So get with me on LinkedIn and we can talk about that. I can share some resources that I know. And I'm doing things in Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria. So I'd definitely love to connect with you on that front as well.
Okay, thank you very much. I definitely am going to connect with you on LinkedIn.
Excellent.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Good talk as well. Thank you.
I want to show you something else important to very important. From Uganda, for second time I went there, I said, okay, I'm here, let's go to Congo. So I went to Congo and chasing gender-based violence victims, right? So that's my shtick right now. I'm really involved in looking for children that are gender-based violence victims. And here I was in the airplane, and then a flight attendant tell me, this albino child got taken off from the family. The mother will take the child. The mother got thrown off the house of her husband, who said, this is not mine. And then also her own family took her out. So then she becomes a young mother victim of violence. And I looked into it, and then I met in Congo 2 organizations, because apparently there is more and more and more and more and more. Now, what it is an albino? Albino is a person that lacks in melanin, right? And this is really new for me. I didn't even put it in the computer. It's all in the phone. So what happened is the albino child from an African family. It's a white child with light eyes, blonde, because it lacks melanin. And then the mother said, the parents said, this is not mine. The father said, this is not my child. But what he doesn't know, and I noticed by speaking with people, they did not know that an albino child comes from a mother that is in missing of protein P. Protein P, that's all. She did not get the nutrition to get this protein P. And because of that, she gave birth to an albino child. 1 second, I have an article that I just submitted for publication. I'm going to show it to you. So what happened with this albino child? The albino child then, she grows up and he is stigmatized. He is taking not fair in school. But then also what happened is that if they manage to go through life, oh boy, they become doctors, they become lawyers, they do their life just like anybody else. Just like anybody else. And they did, so we studied them. So What is their problems mostly? The problem is they get very, very difficult skin cancers. They get very difficult skin cancers and they die because of skin cancers, and they get eye problems. And because of the eye problems, they get to have, cannot see at a distance. So from that reason, there is classrooms and they put the albino child in front so the albino child can really see and concentrate. And some organization I've been in contact with, very nice. Arcadia, he's an educated albino man, very tall and well in every aspect. And he talked about taking away the thinking of, oh, these are sick people and just marginalize them. No, they can go to school, they can advance, they can have normal children without the albinos disease. And then they need, they walk around with umbrella, they need sun factor protection, and they need sunglasses. They need everything to protect somebody that doesn't have melanin. Now what I noticed, and they didn't know, the mothers in Congo, they didn't know that I was actually there for them and not for the children. Well, for the children as well. Now, one good thing, one very good thing is that the Lions Club here in New York, they gave me glasses because that is one of the missions. So I went there, we talked with ophthalmologists, and we got glasses. So we got glasses for the children. We did the testing, and we check the glasses. So we give them glasses, which is very, 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 very good. Now, that is something that is important and is less. Do you know how it says charity starts at home? Please do your charity. One good charity that you can do is whatever is your better skill. For example, one very good charity that can be is taking the children from Swahili on the phone from Tanzania and teach them English. Give attention to those children and teach them to speak English. It's so little, and with so little we can do so much. Oh my God, we can do so much. One very important thing that it is now like so important and it's difficult, so difficult to get money for it, so difficult, like zero, impossible to get, is the children gender-based violence victims, right? So there is the Agape. This is in in Chibo village in Tanzania, where children with gender-based violence, they get to be victims. And this is our Lions Club. And our Lions Club go around the world and think of that. So I'm very happy to be with that. Please come when, anyway, this is me here, over here, right? So one good thing what we did, we just collected gifts. Like, okay, I have those color pencils. You have some dolls, you have this and that. And we went to the oncology department at the hospital and we gave gifts for Christmas to the children. That's it. That's it. That's it. And you know what? Once you go to Tanzania, once you go to visit those children, you don't want to go ever in a restaurant. You don't want. Look at these beds again. I showed them to you yesterday. And look at my girls from the Himba tribe. Do you know they walk like this every single moment of the year? They never got dressed. And you know what? Though this tribe, they wear this little skirt and you see they sell the jewelry and they have those children and they use argile and they never get dressed. But the child got eczema, the child got problems. And believe it or not, this tribe is rich because they got cows. So in Africa, if you have cows, you are rich. Before that in Europe was the same. And I tell you, every single child that knows AI, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, every child, and even some adults, like most adults also, they need to visit Africa. They will came discipline, turn on the page, focus like nothing else. Because once you experience and you've been there to see what happens for real and how much need it is to evolve. Another thing that in Middle Eastern countries has been a big problem, and they face it in the hospital, in the gynecology department, is the genital mutilation of women. But I'm happy to say that in our orphanage in Tanzania, there is no such thing of, none of the girls. In the past, yes, but none of the girls now, they don't have AIDS, and there haven't been mutilation, which is very, 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 very good. Which is very good, because that's something. So what the problem is when they use knives and they do, so there are different sets, like they do, okay, just a little bit of cutting, or they cut everything. And then the woman probably died and they suffer terrible infection, a terrible sequelae, you know, post-trauma for life, mutilation stuff. And it's still going on, less and less, it becomes illegal about some villages. And when you think the education that can be brought with AI in those villages is so much. So much. And then, yes, so if you like to come to Thailand in November, there is going to be a wonderful time. Now, I don't know if you know, to entice you to come in person. First, we will have a party and we will dance. That's a must. And second, Thailand got massages, $4 per massage. I know where to go. And there it is, a Berkeley Hotel also. And next to Berkeley Hotel is a big supermarket with 3 floors of massages. And I tell you, Bangkok on its own got the child of the father of lasers in medicine. His name is Professor Narong, and he is the first faithful student of Professor Isaac Kaplan. And he went to Israel and he learned from Isaac Kaplan to use the lasers in aesthetic medicine and surgery. And because of that, and I promise you, if we go to Bangkok, we're going to meet Professor Narong in Thailand. We go to Calypso to see the boys dressed as girls without any private parts. And we're going to go to have all these massages at Berkeley Hotel and at the Night Market. So Bangkok in real life in November. Oh, also, if you guys live in an area, we are not all of us as lucky as Professor Florence. If you guys live in an area with, how you call it, with cold, then in November in Bangkok, we are in for a treat because it's hot and wonderful, and all the hotels got swimming pools. And also, if we don't have much money, we can rent a very cheap Airbnb and something, and we can get there really, really, really well. So 2 future events, United Nations and then Bangkok. So I'm going to be there definitely to enjoy. Another thing I want to talk to you about, okay, the victim of violence, the victim of gender-based violence, right? So let me tell you the last one. She's 13. She arrived pregnant, and her father and mother, they tried to starve her to death, pregnant by her brother, and they poisoned her. And this girl, what did she get? Post-traumatic stress syndrome. What are the 6 etaps, 5 of treating post-traumatic stress syndrome? Do you know? Let me tell you. Let me tell you. 1, protect the belongings. Make sure you protect the belongings, immediately belongings, long-term belongings, exactly to protect the income of that person, the goods, because it happens that not only she got this trauma, not only probably she's injured, but also she got lack of response. So what happened is, then we have first, protect the belongings. Second, remove from the area, remove that victim from the area where can she be targeted again, or he. Remove the victim from the region of that. Then third, boost shock of happiness. For example, intense dancing, a big hug, a surprise, a shock of happiness, a big party, lights, a beautiful, beautiful moment of happiness for that victim, a beautiful moment of intense happiness. Fourth would be surround that person with people that love that person. Surround the person with people that love that person. That's the fourth. And fifth, the patient have to be guided to do things that they like, and they will be that busy that they will forget that they ever had post-traumatic stress syndrome. They would get healed. So remember the 5 steps. Remember the 5 steps. That is very important, and that is part of healthcare, very important part of healthcare. Very nicely treated in the United States and should be all around the world. So with this, I am closing the panel discussion. Wishing you all a wonderful, superb rest of the year, and wishing you all to continue with a passion with your research. I congratulate you for a beautiful, beautiful presentations and lectures of very high scientific value. And let's meet each other soon and keep in touch on any way. Each one of us is so available and so nice to talk to. So thank you. I made amazing friends, and I'm going to see Dr. Rose this week here in New York. And then I'm going to see Dr. Florence, which I love so much, and everybody else. Dr. Watson, that I see again. It's been a privilege to be with you and listen to you. What a boost of knowledge. Do you know why I got the job to be chair? I tell you why. Because I went to school too much. I finished school at 41, and that's the reason I got the job. I keep getting those being a chair jobs, and that's so nice. That's so nice, and I enjoy it so much. So please, please think of coming to New York and to Bangkok. There's going to be these beautiful parties. Parties, I mean, a gathering of us to speak about the science and share the bread together at the end. And why not also dance? Any other wisdom thoughts?
Thank you for a wonderful event. You was a wonderful host, and I met some new colleagues, some new friends, and I'm looking forward to fostering these relationships and that we can have a positive impact in our local community and globally in the world. So thank you for this. This is a great community. This is my first time, and hopefully it won't be my last.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to everybody. And I wish you all a beautiful, beautiful rest of the day. For me, it's 10:30 in the morning here. We started at 3:30 in the morning, and I'm going to have now to do gardening. I'm going to go to do gardening. So that will be not as nice as this webinar, but that will be super nice. Super nice. And let's change the world. Hey, let's just help the world. Let's just help each one. Local is the most important. General is also important, but local, to be a blessing, local is the most important.
Yeah, hello, Prof, before you close, I wanted you to inform us, how does someone get that protein P? And if someone is already an albino, can they take protein P and then they get back their color? That is one question.
The thing is, the protein P is missing from the mother, and the mother have all the melanin, but she doesn't have this protein P, and then the child, because she doesn't have protein P, doesn't have melanin. So then the child needs melanin. So from the beginning, we have to go in all, because it becomes more often. We have to go through and see the pregnant African woman. We have to see the pregnant that doesn't miss the nutrition that she needs. Mm. And then we have to see all pregnant African women to make sure they don't miss protein in the diet, any protein, and particularly the protein in the diet. And then from that, we get to get a mother that got all the nutrition necessary, and she'll not give birth to a child without this ingredient that makes his life such difficult and her life. I tell you, those girls, the mothers with the children, they were traumatized. Oh, there is not autism related to the albinos. They're not autistic children. They're not autistic. The albino child is not an autistic child. And there it is, the nutrition is all about food with the pregnant mother. That's all about. It's not genetic.
For us here in Uganda, first of all, in Tanzania, they kill the albino children.
Congo
because,
too. Congo.
Because they believe that witch doctors say that if you bring me an albino person, then you'll get what you want. Then they kill them. So it's the witch doctors have put it upon themselves to kill albinos.
Oh,
but
no.
in Uganda, we don't kill them. However, they are so stigmatized. They hardly get married, or they hardly marry. They are usually single and isolated, and it is really bad. That's why I was hoping that maybe if we can know the foods which someone can eat, which have that protein P, then we would probably up the intake.
Yes, protein. They have to eat protein, meat, eggs, lots of meat.
The usual protein.
You see, in Tanzania, the girls, my girls that I know, from the gender-based violence orphanage, which I love, as they're my own children, really. Like we are a family. They were missing meat because being an orphanage is not much meat intake. They have fish from the lake. It's a lake. They have all the fish they want. They miss Fanta, and they miss of course, more research have to be done for the children with now, if an African family tells you, no, we don't have albinos in our family, they lie. Every single family in Congo, they have 2 albinos, 3 albinos. If a man says, like the bodyguard at the hotel, they didn't let us enter with all the children. We had the voice of albinos. We gave 100 glasses to children. They came from all the outskirts of Kinshasa, and they didn't let us enter. So it's true that we can take, there is research, we can take pea proteins intake, but how does the mother know how to take the pea protein? It's all about, they can get, there is protein powder. So what you're going to do, you're going to go to all Africa and give protein powder to the pregnant population. You can research and see the pea proteins, the structures, the classification. And then there is a test, how to test to them. You get it from algae, fungi, from stuff. And a well-nourished girl will not have this lack, but hunger is one of Lions Club most important battle. And hunger truly in Africa is the main. These children are healthy otherwise, but hunger. So then from that you get lack of nutrition, and from that you get any other trouble. You get any other trouble of missing the protein P, and then you got a albino child, very sweet child. And one family, a mother got 5 children, she got 1 albino and the rest 5. But the problem is most mothers are uneducated, they become wives, and then because she got an albino child, the husband desert her, and now she have to make a living. So there are things like that. Do you know it takes a scholarship of $200 per year to keep a child in school in Congo? There is not free school. I went to free school. So it takes $200 per whole year to keep a child in school. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. That's one thing. We really try to do immediate. Do whatever you can, but you know, for example, now I'm taking the clothes of my beloved mother-in-law and take them to all the clothes and shoes and take them to the local charity, put them in the car and take them there. That's one thing, that's free. She doesn't use them anyway because she passed away, bless her soul. So in the end of the day, the fact that we are putting our time and resources to come and do our research, that is really very good, and I thank you for that. And that is really, really, really very, very, very good. And one more thing, I just heard some really, really troubling stuff about this hospital. I'm not going to say where in the world. They kill old people in the intensive care, and my heart really goes to that, and I condemn the brutal, terrible hospital that kills. If just the worst, if the intensive unit that got only 24 beds is too busy, they take the oldest person and they kill the people. I'm not going to tell you where right now, but I just heard that, and it's really very, 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 very bad. Those are hospitals for you. And if with AI, one more thing, an AI nurse cannot kill nobody. That's something good for a hospital, right? An AI nurse who killed the people in the intensive unit. Who? Actually, this hospital is in Bucharest, in Romania. It's called Saint Panteleimon. I am just furious. I am furious. And
Is there a way to rescue these older individuals?
they killed them already. They killed them. They killed them already. They killed them already. And I am just so furious because I was born in Romania and my father died in this hospital. And then at that time, I didn't know what happened. But recently, apparently, 17 people got killed, and the relatives of those people in the same hospital, in the same intensive care unit, they got to be really upset about it, and they put a complaint for homicide. And again, coming to the AI will not kill. AI nurse will not be a killer. AI nurse will not kill a patient, right? So if you Google Saint Panteleimon Hospital, they put a homicide investigation now. My mother was so disturbed because we lost my father there. You know, it's terrible what happened to my father, but let's see, because we didn't think much of it. And for me, as a doctor, not able to save my father, but okay, we romanticize now. Just going back to AI and going to this hospital, shame on them. And if it is that it happened, that people talk, and some of the personnel went and testify already, that means it happened. That means it happened to the sweet population of this lovely, wonderful town called Bucharest. Sector 3, where I was born, and this would be the closest hospital to the neighborhood where I lived when I was a child. And they killed in the AI. So going back, we say, oh, we are afraid of AI. Oh, that's so bad. Oh, let's protect our right against AI. But look at this. And I didn't even thought of talking about it before when we were preparing this panel about healthcare and AI in the hospital. There you go. Already the beautiful AI will not kill the patient. Dr. Watson.
Oh no, I actually just want to, it's one of my experiences, which is why I kind of wanted to build an app, is we need to take better care of our older people. I remembered when I visited this store in France, and the older guy needed help from the clerk to do something, and the level of abuse that this person gave because he had to show him how to do something. I was like, it's astounding. I just had to like say something about it because it's just things like that drive me bonkers. How people could, because these are people that have contributed, they have shaped the country before. You don't even know the situation, and they don't come. They're coming from
Right.
the
Professor Chukwuka Wemeka, 20 years ago, when the GPS started at the car, he called the GPS Lucy. So Lucy was so nice and charming. Lucy never answered back. Lucy never responded aggressively. Lucy was so smart, knew all the responses. So embrace AI. And remember, and please look out for San Pantelimon Hospital in Bucharest, in Romania. Follow and share to open the light to see who were the criminals, who were the killers, what happened, why these people in the intensive care unit were killed, and to hold responsible the people like that.
Question is, could the UN, does the UN, United Nations, have any jurisdiction to investigate? Because I imagine even when this is done, everything, there's data, things are recorded and using AI, right? You can
The local police, leave the UN. UN have other bigger trouble now. The local police, but it's good idea to show it to the UN. The local, everything can be local, and please, I beg of you, if you yourself you become victim of violence, if yourself become victim of violence, if you know somebody that becomes victim of violence, if you know of a hospital violence, go to the police. That's the most important. Go to the police, local police. Just that's it, local police. And if it doesn't go, then local DA in the region. And if this doesn't work, you go to follow up and ask organizations. But everything starts from local, everything. From the cleaning of the sidewalk and then to the rest. It is a beautiful world, though. I think it's a beautiful world, and we're gonna make it even more beautiful. We are, I think. It's a beautiful world, and we should leave the conference on that note. We should really think how to make this beautiful world even more beautiful with our applications, with our passion that is visible, with the voice that we got, not be shy, and loud, be loud and talk as much as you can talk. Yes, so please write down my phone number and keep in contact with Kiran. Again, big praise to Kiran because he is the bomb. He is the best in the world. Kiran knows to organize. He faces lots of problems. It's not easy for him. Well done, Kiran and Monica and everybody